Hello, Unlimited friends. Today we are going to talk about the emotional scale and how to use it effectively in order to shift your vibration so that you can receive the results that you want to receive. Hi, I'm ZMAHOON from ZMAHOON.com, and on this channel we talk about anything and everything that has to do with law of attraction and using it to improving our lives. Okay, so the emotional scale. Abraham uses 22 different levels of the emotional scale. They go all the way from the bottom of the emotional scale at discouragement, despair, disappointment, and depression, all the way to the top of the scale, which is joy. But in between, there are so many levels that it is truly confusing. Long ago, I had a dilemma as well because you can't just sit there 20 different times in your day and ask yourself this question. Where am I on the emotional scale? Am I in contentment or satisfaction? Am I in anger or jealousy? Because a lot of times our emotions are just a tiny little bit different from each other. And the other thing is, if you don't have benchmarks for the way you feel, then it could be anything. Now, having said that, later on, Abraham has said, and even in the book Ask and It Is Given, they have said that really there are only two ways to feel. One is good and the other one is bad. That's it. To make my life easier, I started using a scale of 1 to 10 because that was a scale that I was used to at school. Simple as that. I'm used to, and I'm sure that you are too, scaling things from 1 to 10. 1 is a really, really, strong negative feeling, and a 10 is a really, really positive, strong feeling. So I find it easy to divide the scale into two, with 5 being worry. So let me show you a visual depiction of what I mean. So if you look at the emotional scale, what I've got is a 0 over here at despair and a 10 over here at joy. And I divide the scale at 5 in the middle at worry. And that's all. So then the next step to understanding how all of this fits together is to benchmark these. What does a 10 feel like? To me, a 10 feels like waking up in the morning and jumping out of bed because you're so excited to get going. That's what a 10 is. And I remember that feeling. So I have other benchmarks for a 10 as well. Another one of my benchmarks for 10 is having a pillow fight. Pillow fighting with my brother or with my children, that is a 10. It is so much fun and so exciting. That's a 10. For me, satisfaction is somewhere over here in the middle between worry and joy. Somewhere over here is satisfaction. It's more like an 8, a 7 or an 8. And to me, satisfaction is gazing on the faces of my children as they sleep, or gazing on one of my cats or my puppy as they sleep, because when they sleep they are so connected to source, and just that beautiful look on their face, it just makes me feel so good. But it doesn't make me jump up and down for joy. It just warms my heart. It puts a glow in my heart. And there are other things that put a glow in my heart as well, right? When I meet a friend that I haven't seen for a very long time and I give them a hug, it's a nice, tight, juicy hug. That's a feeling of satisfaction. When I'm really, really hungry and I eat something really, really delicious and it hits that spot that is satisfying because it has curbed that feeling of hunger. Drinking water when you're thirsty and how good you feel after that, that is satisfaction. Worry. I know exactly how worry feels. right? But the point is, these are examples of feelings that you benchmark. So when you ask yourself, how am I feeling? Am I feeling like I'm jumping up and down? Then I'm not a 10. But it's okay not to be a 10, you see, because the real objective is to be a 7 or an 8. The real objective is to be satisfied. And so, do I feel like I really had a good meal and satisfied my hunger? If I did, then that's satisfaction. I'm at a place of satisfaction, right? Do I feel that peace in the heart? Right? Like everything is in the right place. That's how I feel when I see my children sleeping. Ah, that is satisfaction. So you can find things in your life that help you benchmark. You've got to have a benchmark. Because if you don't have a benchmark, then you don't have a way to compare where you are on the emotional scale. Got to benchmark these things. What is worry? Worry is all consuming. It's when your thoughts keep going to something bad happening. I've been there. I know what worry feels like. I used to be a constant worrier. I used to worry about my father not getting home on time. I used to worry about things going wrong at work. I know how worry feels like. And you do too. You know how worry feels like to you. And then anger over here. Anger and revenge are right over here in the middle somewhere before we dip really down to the depths of despair. So we all know what anger feels like. Anger feels like I could kill you just now. I am boiling. I am seething over with a negative emotion, and that emotion is one of anger, and I want to act from there. I want to break something. That's anger, right? And then despair, depression. I have no control. I have no control. Bad things are happening to me and I have no control over them. I can't change them. I don't know what to do. I'm helpless. There's no one. I have no one. And you know what? I have been there. I've been there more than once in my life. I have felt that way, and that is why I know when I am there. So now let's talk about the purpose. Why are we doing this benchmarking exercise? Because it is important to know where you are on the emotional scale. Because if you are low down on the emotional scale, if you are below the feeling of satisfaction, if you're low down and you are less than a 7 on the emotional scale, that means that you need to sit down, grab a piece of paper, any sheet like this, anything like this, and start writing. Start writing, because writing keeps us in a positive vibration for a longer time. And pick a couple of really general affirmations that make you feel better. One of the affirmations that makes me always feel better is saying the words, things are always working out for me. So when I am low on the emotional scale, when I start feeling that agitation that tells me that I'm heading on my way downwards on the emotional scale, that's all I need to remind myself. Things are always working out for me, whether I can see it or not. Because it's not about me doing anything that makes things work out. It is the universe, and the universe acting on my behalf. That is what makes things work out for me. Another affirmation that I really love is that the future can be better than the past. The future can always be better than what I am experiencing now, which is now in the past, because there's no such thing as now, because soon as you experience this moment, it is in the past. The future can be better than the past, because all it takes to change the future is to change what I am thinking and focusing on right now in this moment. That's all. That's how easy it is. And long ago, I made a decision that has served me really, really well, and it has to do with my understanding of how law of attraction works and how Abraham's teachings work. Because there's a misunderstanding that says I have to go up to a place of joy. I've got to do something when I'm not feeling good. I have to do something to feel good, and that is wrong. We do not have to feel good in that moment when we are not feeling good, because it is impossible. And so if you've been trying to do that and not having success with it, commiserations from me. I've been there and I know it does not work that way. So stop, stop, because you're wasting your energy and you're wasting your time. There is a much easier way. It's not about going all the way up the emotional scale. It's just about taking your mind off the problem and becoming neutral, focusing on something that feels neutral. That's all. What feels neutral? Well, this pen is neutral. I don't get excited about this pen, right? It's neutral to me. All I have to do is to stop thinking about the problem and focus on this. And as I focus on it, as I look at it, I start describing it. Oh, it has a green cap, it's cylindrical, it's a whiteboard marker. Where was it made? It was made in Germany. Let's see. Dry wipe ink. All I have to do is just focus on this stupid pen for 60 seconds, because that takes me into a neutral zone. Neutral, why? Because I'm not thinking about the problem when I am describing this pen. That's all we need to do. That's how this whole law of attraction business works. It's not about going up the emotional scale. So I use an analogy, and I'm going to repeat it anyway. If you've heard it from me before, fantastic. Hear it again and it will stick longer. And that is, if you drive a car, you don't go from parked position all the way to fourth gear. You don't do that in one flip. From park, you go to neutral. From neutral, you go to first gear, then second gear, then third, and then fourth. So when you are parked means life is not going anywhere. I'm trying, but it's not happening. First, you got to go neutral. You've got to stop thinking about your life and think about something that is neutral. Pens, neutral. Anything in nature is neutral. Think about a flower, think about the sky, think about the weather. It doesn't matter. Just pick something and roll with it. Describe it in excruciating detail. Write it out. Write it out. And that will take you into neutral. Writing those affirmations, that will make you feel better. And that's the work. That's all the work there is. Stop thinking that it is more complicated. I know that there are lots of teachers out there who make it more complicated because they like for you to think that they are very smart and you're not as smart as them. But folks, we are all equally smart. You are as smart as anyone else. And law of attraction works the same way for all of us, and it is really simple. And I like making things simple for myself as well as for you. So it's really simple. Don't overcomplicate it. If something is bothering you, just shift, pick a pen, shift your attention to this pen, describe it in excruciating detail for 60 seconds. After you're done, pick something else, describe that for 60 seconds. If you can keep your mind off the problem for 60 seconds at a stretch every time, your problem will go away. That is my promise to you. I know that is how it works because I have tried it and experimented with it, and I know that that is how it works. That's all there is to it. So that's how you use the emotional scale. If you have your feelings benchmarked and you can tell that you're heading in the negative direction, you have got to get into neutral zone. Get into neutral zone before you try to get into positive zone, because going positive is like going from that neutral gear into first gear. And it does not happen immediately because your worry has got you in its vice. Your disappointment or anger or whatever negative emotion you're feeling, it's got you. And it's hard to get away from that feeling. And you have to keep getting away from it for little stretches of 30 seconds or 1 minute at a time in order for that feeling to alleviate, in order for it to calm down. Right? The other thing that you can do to have that calm down a little bit before you even make the first tiniest little attempt to feel better is just to breathe. Just close your eyes. Tell yourself it's going to be all right. Remember to tell yourself it's going to be all right. Because those words, when you hear them, they sound true. Remember the time when things used to go wrong when you were a child and your parents used to say to you, it's going to be all right? Or a teacher used to say, it's going to be all right? Don't you remember that their saying that made you feel better? And now you're too old for them to be doing that for you, even though, you know what, parents never stop doing that. My parents, till the end, were doing that for me. If I was ever upset, they could hear it in my voice and they would always say, it's going to be all right. But now you got to start saying that to yourself. It's going to be all right. And here's a neat little, call it a trick for lack of better words, but if you close your eyes when you say these words and you breathe deep, in that moment, in those 10 seconds, you immediately re-establish your connection with Source. And when you re-establish your connection with Source, you have access to all the resources and the power of Source. And isn't that wonderful? But that really is how simple it is. So folks, the primary use of the emotional scale is so that we can tell where we are, so that we can do something about it if we are not in the right place, so that we can start making tiny step progress up the emotional scale. Not right to the top, although going to the top is fantastic and we can, but the objective always is to get to a place of satisfaction. Get to satisfaction, and from satisfaction, from time to time, you'll taste joy. But living life at a place of satisfaction, that is where all the action is. That is what Law of Attraction is all about. That is what I want you to experience. All right? Okay, that's it. I am done for today. I hope that this was useful and I hope that you'll be able to take something from it that you can apply right away to your life and make it better. And if you do, come back and let me know because I love hearing from you. And if you have questions, post them because I love hearing from you and I will respond to your questions. Take care, folks. Click on that like button before you leave and please subscribe and click on the notification bell so that I can invite you back to my next video. Bye for now.